Hey there guys and gals, it's me, nirex, and welcome back to Beginner C++ Programming. So in the last video, we talked a little bit about this guy, initialization and array. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about logical and comparison operators. Now, you already know what normal operators are like binary and unary operators, like the equation and the addition and multiplication, negation, all that good stuff. But today we're going to talk about this kind of junk. So let's first get into what logical operators are. Now, if you have read ever any discrete mathematics book or anything that is even relatively related to discrete mathematics, you will see that they always have a couple of diagrams or a couple of charts like this that they teach the AND and OR operators, and these are basically what the logical operators sum up to. And there's one more, which is called which is called a nut. Alright, so let's first get into AND. Now, AND has a couple of things, It has two sets of variables. It's a binary operator, so A and B, and here will be the AND result. Alright? Now, before we get into any of it, all of these guys, except this dude, they all have A and B, right? Let me just draw the charts completely, then we'll get back into this guy. So the first thing that I want to talk about before I get here is the bool data type. If you remember from the data types video, we have a data type kind of special one called bool, which can take true or false. Okay? Now anything that's zero is, anything that's zero, there's only one zero. So anything that's not zero is true, okay? Anything that's not zero. And zero is false, okay? So it could be, this guy could be negative, positive, whatever the hell you want it to be. This guy is true. Whatever it is, if it's not zero, it's true. Here, in this dude, if it's zero, it's false, so yeah. The basic thing to know is that true is not zero, false is zero. Sometimes they say true is 1, but it's not really 1. 1 is the standard true, but anything other than 0 is true. Anyhow, so this is basically what I wanted to talk about. Now, let's go ahead and go back into Visual Studio before we get in there, so that I can show you a little bit of bool and exactly what it is. So bool B equals true, like that. Bool B equals, bool C equals 1. This is basically the same thing, okay? True, false, true on 1, any number that's not 0, same thing. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into how we can do Boolean operations or logical operations with Booleans. So all of these guys right here, they all are of type Boolean. So A and B in all of these charts are of type bool. So A and B, that's a nice ampersand, are, from 0 and 1. Let's just say it like that. So these guys are, from 0 and 1. They can only be 0 and 1. Now let's talk about the AND operator first. So it's kind of, obvious. I need this one and that one. It means you need both of them, right? So I'm going to represent them with 1 and 0. If A is 1 and B is 1, then the AND operator will result in 1. If A is 1, B is 0, result will be 0. If A is 0, B is 1, the result will be 0. If both A and B are 0, then the result will be 0. As simple as it gets, guys. There's nothing to worry about, all this bullshit, nothing too hard to understand. Simple stuff. So the only way you can get a 1 in your result is with this guy right here. So if both of these guys are true, then you're going to have a true. Other than that, it's all false. Now let's talk a little bit about the OR operator. Now, it's kind of the same way, okay? It takes two operands and they're of type Boolean again. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. So if A is true and B is true, the result is definitely true, okay? This or that, either of them, it means either one. If A is true or B is false, it's going to result in true. if A is false and B is true, or B is true, it's going to result in true. And if both of them are false, it's going to result in false. So the only way you will get a false from OR is if you had 0 or false for both your operands. So if both sides are none or 0, you are going to get a 0 here, or a false, or a, whatever. Now let's take a look at the NOT operator for 0 and 1. Okay, now I should have done them in another way. Okay, A and B in results like the normal way, but hell, nobody gives a damn. So NOT of A, if it's 0, it'll be resulted into 1. NOT of 1 will be 0. No, simple junk. So these guys are binary operators, both of them. And this guy right here is unary operators. Okay, so bin, unary. Which means it takes only one operand. These guys take 2 operands. But how do we do these guys? How do we show these guys in our code? Well, it's quite simple. So I can simply say true and false, or whatever else I want, or not true, or not false, or whatever. So the symbol to show AND is this. The symbol to show OR is this. And the symbol to show NOT is this. Now, do take care. This is not the same as this. Okay, this is the bitwise operator AND. This is the comparison operator, or I'm sorry, the logical operator AND. These are completely different things. They might sometimes result in the same thing. They might, and they usually do, but they're going to just ruin your data if you use this instead of that. This just compares, this messes things up if you're not careful enough. So yeah, this is the OR operator. It's kind of different from this one. Don't misuse them. Don't mistake them. And this is a NOT operator. So I can simply say, I have a bool B1, which is true. Simple, easy peasy, dandy. I have a bool B2, or rather A2 or A1, or what the heck, res1, which is the result. It's going to be B1 or false. So this is definitely going to be true, because if we evaluate it, true, B1 is true, right? True or false definitely result in true, because it's an OR. Either one of them should do. And this one is true, so this one is definitely going to be true. Bool res2 equals B1 and false. Now this guy is definitely going to be false. When you see AND, it means both of these guys must be true. It doesn't even matter. If we evaluate it, it doesn't even matter what the heck is in this value. It could be false, it could be true, we don't care. Because there's a false here. And because there's a false here, no matter what we put here, it will result in a false. If we evaluate it, this will be false. Alright? Simple as that. We could also say bool res3 equals not B1, which will be false. So B1 is true, not B1 means false. Okay? Now here's a little bit of note here just to take into consideration, just to take into account. As I said, 0 is false, right? And anything that's not 0 is true, right? So if you have, for instance, something like 73, if you have something like 73, it's definitely true, yes? Because it's not false. Because it's not 0. Since it's not 0, it's true. Now, if you not that 73, it'll result into 0. And if you not that 0 back, it'll result into 1. So just be careful. Do what you want to do with just true and false, and just work with 1 and 0. Don't really do that unless you want, you want to do something special with the value. But yeah, doing a not operation on a variable like this, it's just going to result in things that are not expected. So it's just going to result in unexpected things, or maybe you do expect them, but just don't do that. It's not good practice to do that. Anyhow, so these guys were the logical operators. These were I believe these are the hardest operators to come by, which are super easy. So it tells a lot about how easy operators are in general. Now, those were the logical operators. Let's talk a bit about comparison operators. So they too result in a bool, right? Because we're comparing two things, right? Now, comparison operators are most of them, or no, actually all of them, are binary operators, okay? So they're all binary. They take two operands, okay? One here, binary op, or rather comp, binary op. That's just so much right there. Comparison, binary operator, operand, and they're just op. So we don't give a shit. Now, here's what I mean by them resulting in a bool. Oh my god, I talk so bad. Anyhow, so these are quite simple to understand. The first one is this guy. Equal, equal. Now, we could have just used this guy, but this one's already taken, right? We already use it for assignment operator. Now, this guy right here, this guy is the equal operator, the equation operator, okay? So, assignment, equation. And that's why I used that name there, just to make sure, you understand the difference. So, equation operator, assignment operator. Now, here's the thing with this. So if this side is the same as this side, it's going to return true. If they're not the same thing, it's not going to return true. Easy peasy, right? Not equal to. If this side is not equal to this side, it's going to return true. If it's equal, it's going to return false. So it's basically the reverse of this guy. Greater than. If there's a 1 here and there's a 2 here, it's going to return false. If there's a 1 here and there's a 1 here, it's still going to return false. If it's the 2 here and the 1 here, then it's going to return true. Less than. Same thing as this, but in reverse. We also have greater than or equal to. Now, do make note, it's not this guy. This guy doesn't work, okay? We don't have equal to or greater than. We have greater than or equal to. And this is the name of it. They don't really have, just official names. Greater than or equal to operator is what we usually call it. I don't know. They might have official names. I've never been officially introduced to them, so don't rage on comments. So this is basically what it is. If I put a 1 here and a 1 here, I'm definitely going to get true because of this guy right here. There's one more. Less than or equal to. So equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, and less than, equal to. These are basically all the things that you actually do care about, when it comes to comparison operators. Now let's get back into code and see exactly how they work. So, or let's say, int a equals 5, or 5, int b equals 8, actually, and bool c or bool cont equals, nothing. For now, we don't do anything with it because we're not going to use it. We're just going to assign things to it. So cont equals a equals b. It's going to result into a false because a is not equal to b, of course. Now, if I do something like this, it's definitely going to result in a true. Not equal b. Is it not equal to b? Of course it's not, so it's a true. Of course it's not. So it's a positive sentence. We're going to get a true into cont. Is a greater than b? Definitely not. We're going to get a false. Is a less than b? Definitely true. We're going to get a true. Is a greater than or equal to b? Definitely not. We're going to get a false. Is a less than or equal to b? Definitely true. We're going to get a true. Now here's the thing to note. You can actually sequence these operations as much as you want, as much as you like to. So a equals to a should a be equal to b, or rather a should be equal to b, or a should be greater than b. All right, it's kind of like that. Either one of these guys should be true, so you can just just mash them together. Just use as many of these guys as you want together with just an and or an or whatever. Or you could just do something like that, which is stupid. Don't ever do that. It can't be both this one and this one. It should be either this one and this one. But you are free to do what you want to do. You are free to believe what you want to goddamn believe. So yeah, that's basically what this is all about, okay? You can sequence these, you can just put them, you can just cascade them into each other, just go forward with them. There are no limitations. You can do whatever you want, and it's really as hard as it gets. So it's really not that hard, and as you can see, there are just so few of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, 3 of the other operators, so that's just 9 operators in total. Nothing to be worried about, and nothing to think about too much. Anyhow, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, do leave a like, maybe even leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Anyhow, that's it for this one. See you guys in the next one.